I have the Mad Dog's top 10 QBs list, and I sent this to you a couple days ago. I know this might be old news to the fans, but we have to go over this because Mad Dog is such an idiot with this list. So at number 10, I'm going to just go 10-1.
Yeah.
And I need you to just think about it for a second. Number 10, he has Bart Starr. In case you don't know Bart Starr, he played in the fucking 60s.
With the Packers. Like, every time I see a list from Mad Dog, or every time I see a take about him with, like, either the NBA, NFL, you name the sport, I'm just like, okay, tell me you're old without telling me you're a fossil.
Exactly. So, number 10 was immediately Bart Starr, and that's when I was like, okay.
Here we go.
This list's going to be great. Number 9, Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning, Peyton Manning, you can put him wherever you want. I think he deserves to be higher than 9.
A little bit higher than number 9. I mean, Peyton Manning, like, kind of changed the game. And then it was always an argument, who's better with him or Tom Brady? Tom Brady had the better team, better defense. And then Tom Brady was like, you know what? No, I'm just going to go out there and then win 4 more Super Bowls after that initial rivalry.
Yeah, but I think Peyton Manning should, at least he's on the top 10, but he should be higher. And then John Elway. Okay. Sure. You want to put John Elway on that list? Okay. Top 10?
Yeah, I mean, he didn't win a Super Bowl till the last 2 years of his career. And then he also had LT and LaDainian Tomlinson and Shannon Sharp.
Well,
and
he had Terrell Davis.
Terrell Davis, yeah.
But, you want to put him there? Sure. 80s, 90s, cool. Terry Bradshaw at number 8. Number 7, I mean. 4 Super Bowls with the Iron Curtain, the greatest defense, arguably of all time.
Yes, the guy who couldn't beat out Phil Robertson from Duck Dynasty in college. Yeah, please put him on your top 10.
Then we have Roger Staubach, who played in the 70s.
Tell me
There's a theme here.
Yeah.
Number 5. This is when the list just gets crazy. Otto Graham. Otto Graham. And by the way, I had a Browns report back in high school, so I know a decent amount about Otto Graham. Otto Graham played in the 50s. He played in the 50s.
Wait, was that football or rugby? I'm pretty sure they were still playing rugby at that point.
It wasn't even the NFL yet.
Weren't they wearing like the kooky leather helmets too?
Yeah, they were wearing leather helmets when Otto Graham. You think Otto Graham plays today? Okay. And Otto Graham is the 5th greatest quarterback of all time.
If Otto Graham's on this list, obviously Aaron Rodgers is, right?
Nope. Number 4 is Johnny Unitas, who also played in the 60s. You nailed it. So Johnny Unitas is the 4th greatest quarterback of all time. And then this is the rest of the list. Whatever. Joe Montana at number 3. He won 4 Super Bowls. He was the GOAT before Tom Brady. You want to put him at number 3? By all means. I don't give a shit. Number 2, Tom Brady, and number 1, Patrick Mahomes.
Okay. Give Patrick Mahomes a full career before you put him over Tom Brady right now. Putting him over Tom Brady right now is absolutely ridiculous. And Tom Brady should be the number 1. He is the undisputable GOAT, and everyone thinks he's the greatest player of all time. You can't put Patrick Mahomes above him yet. If you put Patrick Mahomes number 2, I wouldn't even care. Yeah. But at the end of the day, I would take Aaron Rodgers over half of this list. Probably like you're talking about Montana, arguing potentially Elway, Brady, and Mahomes, but Otto Graham, who played rugby in leather helmets when that really wasn't football at that point. And it's like Aaron Rodgers should be on this list. And personally, I think Aaron Rodgers is better than Peyton Manning all time, just with he has more arm talent than him and then a much better touchdown to interception ratio as well. And I feel like Peyton Manning had, I don't know, the last Super Bowl he won, he was a zombified corpse, and his DeMarcus Ware and Von Miller dragged him to a Super Bowl victory, also with Chris Harris Jr. And Aqib Talib in that secondary, and then Cam Newton just having no weapons on offense. Potentially the worst Super Bowl of all time.
Yeah, that was bad. Here's what I would do. First of all, get rid of anybody from the fucking 70s. How about that? As people who played with leather helmets, banned from our list of top 10s. And we don't even need to give our top 10s right now. But I can tell you guys who won't be on my top 10. Otto Graham. And again, I had a book report about Otto Graham. I mean, he was great. Don't get me wrong. He was great when my grandparents watched football. But guess what? He's not on the top 5 anymore.
No.
You want to put Drew Brees in the top 10? Sure. If you want to. You can put him, maybe not at number 5, but you can put him at number 10 if you want to.
You can put him at 10.
You can put him over Roger Staubach. You can put him over Terry Bradshaw, which his numbers are not good. And then Bart Starr.
Don't most Steelers fans think that Ben Roethlisberger was a better quarterback than Terry Bradshaw, though?
Yes. But the problem with Big Ben, and this is what a lot of people like Mad Dog have to agree. Big Ben played not in the 70s, which is obviously the criteria just didn't match there.
It's too easy for these new quarterbacks to play. I remember when you could rape the quarterback and no one batted an eye. It's like, what?
This is the same guy who says Larry Bird's the greatest shooter of all time.
Oh my, what? Still, he's watched Steph Curry play and say, you know the guy who dribbles between his legs and steps back at half court? No, him. Larry Bird.
Dude, the rules.
The rules.
So we had to talk about Mad Dog being an idiot because I made a couple of shorts about it. But I think the fact that, for me, there's like 5 people on here that I'm like, okay, no problem. Peyton Manning, John Elway, Joe Montana, Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. Whatever ranking you want to put them on. Yeah. Whatever. Subjective. But these other five, and I know that I didn't watch football in the 70s because I was -38 at the time. Not quite of age quite yet.
Yeah.
Or my mother was born in 1970. She was shitting in diapers when Terry Bradshaw was winning Super Bowls.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I'm so ignorant here. So maybe the people in our comment section who know how to use a phone in their 80s, let us know how great they were, because those are the people who will call us idiots here. But like everyone here, first of all, I see a lot of Cowboys here. Secondly, I see a lot of old Packers teams. I see a lot of players who played in the fucking 70s.
Yeah.
At the end of it. Who else? Who would you add to the? I mean, we mentioned Aaron Rodgers and we mentioned Drew Brees potentially. Who else deserves to be on this list outside of the people we see here?
It depends on the era. Like if we're adding like a few players from each era, I would say someone like Steve Young, we'd be able to add to this list. I know if he played a full career, Andrew Luck would definitely be on this list, but I think it's fair to put Ben Roethlisberger in the top 10 all time. I think it's fair to put Drew Brees, especially with the amount of stats that they have. Ben Roethlisberger is still the youngest player to win a Super Bowl, and most people won't accomplish that feat again. He probably had the best rookie year of any quarterback. He made 3 Super Bowls, ended up winning 2. So I think it'd be fair to put Roethlisberger over Otto Graham, and someone who played in a leather helmet. Like, if you played in a leather helmet, you're automatically disqualified from this list. But definitely Aaron Rodgers on this list.
If you want to put somebody also over Otto Graham, and I'm not here to beat up on Otto Graham. I'm sure the widows of Otto Graham are probably very upset with us. But hell, even Dan Marino. Dan Marino. His numbers are better. The numbers. If we're talking about numbers as the almighty truth, the numbers are telling you you're wrong.
Yeah.
These are some people who just shouldn't have a platform. These are people who should go to jail for their opinions.
Yeah, and for like a top 10, it's kind of like in hip hop where it's not necessarily the top 10 like best rappers, because there's a lot of people who are better at rapping than most mainstream people, but it'd just be like who made the biggest impact and who kind of revolutionized the sport. So like you could give an honorable shout out to either Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson, or Michael Vick, and I would take Lamar over most of these people, and I think Josh Allen will be on this list at the end of his career as well. But you have to like actually like do a little bit of thought besides, oh no, I did book reports in college when I was protesting the Vietnam War. Like, okay, those are the players you're putting on. You're putting on rugby players in leather helmets. Like, give me a break.